Do you know what time it is? It's time for songs and stories for them hard hitting times. You ready? All right, let's see. See what we can do. I'm remembering the days, for I went away, way back in the hills of old Vermont. And the orchard on the hill, I think I see it still, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free, and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. There used to be a barn near the old fishing pond, way back in the hills of old Vermont. So many fields of hay, now gone with yesterday, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free, and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. Well, everything has changed, nothing stays the same, way back in the hills of old Vermont. Like the old brown panther's roar, you won't hear that no more, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free, and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun. Yeah, slippery there, folks. But when the rains came down and flooded many towns, way back in the hills of old Vermont, all the neighbors lent a hand for the loving of the land, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free, and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. Yeah. Hi, this is Rik Palieri right here in the hills of old Vermont, and bringing you another Songs and Stories for Hard-Hitting Times. And let's see who's here. Well, Jamie Johnson is here all the way from Arizona, and Pamela Zappardino is here. Hi, Rick, Mariana, and hi to Truffles too. All right. And Mariana is here, and the harmonica holder looks cool, and Al Poindexter. Well, yeah, this thing is cool. It's a really neat kind of a harmonica holder, and I can't remember the name now. I don't have the thing in front of me, but I'll tell you next time because it really is cool. And the neat thing is you could take it off and you can play other instruments. And I am, as you folks know, I'm still in recovery. But you see what I've got here? I've got my real long neck banjo, but you see where the capo is. It's way up here. I can't reach any further than that, folks. That's about it. I guess those who are just tuning in, I've been recovering from this rotator cuff surgery, and I'm doing good. My hand is out of the sling, and as you can see, I can move it around, but I can't lift it too high there. But positioned just right, I can play a little bit on the banjo on my full-size banjo. Soon as get my new house done, sail away, ladies, sail away. Give my old one to my son, sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, sail away, ladies, sail away. Woo! Little babies, don't you cry. Sail away, ladies, sail away. You'll be an angel by and by. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, 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 don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Come little girls, come with me. Sail away, ladies, sail away. We'll go down to Tennessee. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, 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 don't you rock 'em. Do it now. Now that's where I usually would flip my banjo, but I can't do that right now. But I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm just making sure we can. But don't overdo it. No flipping the banjo. It's way too soon, says Mariana. She knows what I want to do, and it does, folks. It even that little bit hurts. It hurts a bit, But I think that's the way it goes. I've been doing all the exercises, and as you can see, it's really great to actually play some music again instead of thinking about playing music. And some of the stuff is easier to play, right, Truffles? I know. Now, Truffles says, let's see, we can. You're gonna stay here, Truffles? I was standing around New York town one day, just standing around New York town one day. I was standing around New York town one day, singing hey, 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 I was broke, did not have a dime. I was broke, did not have a dime. Well, I was broke, did not have a dime. Singing hey, 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 singing hey, hey, singing hey. Everyone has a little hard luck sometimes. Well, everyone has a little hard luck sometimes. Singing hey, 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 try it now. Hey, 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 singing hey, 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 hey. Well, I'm gonna ride that new I'm gonna ride that new morning train. Well, I'm gonna ride that new morning train, singing hey, hey, well, hey, 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 singing hey, hey, one more time. Hey, hey, well, hey, hey, singing hey, hey. What'd you think about that, Truffles? I know. You're getting used to being a part of the show. And I think you're having such a good time. You keep giving me ideas about different ways to include you, right? I know. All right. So Truffles just wanted to say hello to all my friends out there with their pigs. Okay, Victoria Munoz, hey, just stopping by. Truffles looks comfy. Yeah. On my way to rehearsal, Victoria. Have a great rehearsal. It's great to see so many friends out there now trying to make a living again, playing some music and going out and playing shows. I have a whole bunch of shows being scheduled in June, hopefully giving me more time to recuperate. And I haven't been playing as much as I'd like because I can't. I play a little bit here and a little bit there, and I can't even tune, folks. South Mountain, hey ho, diddlum day. Chickens crow on South Mountain, hey ho, diddlum day. Chickens crow on South Mountain, hey ho. Chickens crow on South Mountain, hey ho, diddlum day. My true love's a blue-eyed daisy, hey ho, diddlum day. I don't get her all go crazy. Hey ho, diddle-dum day. Chickens crow on South Mountain. Hey ho, chickens crow on South Mountain. Hey ho, diddle-dum day. My true love looks over the river. Hey ho, diddle-dum day. Two more jumps, I'll be with her. Hey ho, diddle-dum day. Chickens crow on South Mountain. Hey ho, chickens crow on South Mountain. Hey ho, diddle-dum day. Oh, Sourwood Mountain, Sourwood Mountain. Now, one of the things, oh, put the banjo down, I thought would be interesting to kind of talk about today is a book that really influenced me. And some of you might have it, some of you might have it, and some of you don't. And this version here, nobody's going to have it because this one was hand bound by Mariana, as you can see. And this is Pete Seeger's The Incomplete Folk Singer. And if you don't have this book on your bookshelf, it's one that needs to be there. I found this book so inspiring. I think I got it back in 1973, I think, or 74, I can't remember. But I got it as a present from a dear friend, and it's been like one of those things. It's a book that when Pete put it together, it's based on a lot of the things that he wrote from Sing Out magazine, but then there's a lot of other things that he put in there. And of course, Pete being Pete, I felt like he didn't put enough photos in there. So, you know, being having a bookbinder in the family, see, you can the Holzer bookbindery always, you know, encourages you to make the book your own. So I found that this picture of Pete that I put in here, and then I felt like there was a thing about oh boy, let's see, about Leadbelly, and they didn't have a good picture of Leadbelly in here, so I found a picture of Leadbelly, and I put picture of Leadbelly in here, as you can see, because I thought it needed a good picture of Leadbelly, and a few other things throughout. And it's sort of like, you know, here at the Holzer bookbindery, Mariana's always getting in books that are personal books, and you know, families. You have a book, and maybe your grandfather or your grandmother or uncle or somebody gave you that book, and they sign it, and that means a lot to the people, especially when the people are no longer there. And so we get all of these books to be repaired that are these old books that have the sentimental attachment to it. And for me, this book, like I said, it had always been with me. And as I went through life and experienced different things, I would go back and pick it up, and it would shine a new light on certain things. You know, that it's sort of like, it was almost like when you were talking with Pete Seeger himself, he would kind of talk to you at the level that you were at. What did you need at that time? And he would discuss those kinds of things. And I guess once you get to another point, he would talk to you in a different way if you were ready for that kind of information. And so when I read his book, it was on so many different levels. In the beginning, it was just about getting excited about the music. So the cool thing about this book is that, you know, you want to learn about, you know, Mother Jones, and you want to learn about Joe Hill. You can learn about that. And Ziffa Horton he talks about Ziffa Horton and We Shall Overcome, and how that song, lots of different songs in here that you can learn. And then the cool thing is he starts going into the life of a musician. And, you know, here he's talking about Ramblin' Jack Elliott, and talking about how when Ramblin' Jack started wearing some of his cowboy hats and stuff, that people thought he was putting on an act. But if you've ever spent time with Jack, you know, you sometimes, you don't have to be born in a situation to become that person. You go through life, and you know, Jack has ridden his share of horses and bronc bulls, all kinds of things, and he's earned that right to be the cowboy that he wanted to be, even though he didn't start out that way. I mean, we don't all have the privilege of like being who we want to be in the beginning. I mean, that was cool if you watched the Grammys the other night and John Batiste, and like he's saying the most important thing is it's really hard to know, like, you get an award for best singer or best, song. He goes, well, that's really judgmental. There is really no best. It's you have to be at your best. You have to do your best. And, sometimes it takes a while for the rest of the world to catch up with you and understand that. So, the thing is, he was saying to be you, to be you. And I think that's a really important thing. And, so as you go through here, you say, oh, well, I was thinking about having a wash tub bass. Well, here, Pete shows you how to make your own wash tub bass and how to play the washboard. And if you wanted to learn I need a banjo case for my banjo. Well, Pete shows you how to make a banjo case. And so when you want to play guitar, 12-string guitar, he has some suggestions about that, and auto harp, and all of these, and even steel drums. Probably people didn't know that Pete was really into steel drums, and he would make his own steel drums. So as you go through life, I came back from the Caribbean and I was all excited because I saw people playing steel drums, and I went to visit with Pete, and he talked about, how he made steel drums, and how, steel bands started happening in the Beacon area. I don't know if they still have them, but, and traveling all over the world. So as I started traveling, I started reading more about other places that Pete's been, and said, well, that would be interesting to be there. But of all the things that I would go to over and over again, there is page 554, if you have the book, page 554. And this was, it was a thing that he originally wrote for Talks to Teens from 17 magazine in 1963. And it was sort of like he was talking to younger folks about giving some wisdom and some advice. So I'm going to just read you a little bit of that today. And it says, "Dear fellow humans, I usually mistrust older people giving advice to younger people because often while their advice is very good, the values of foresight, temperance, and persistence, they forget that the younger people usually know one of the most important things of all, the value of enthusiasm and enjoyment of life. 25 years ago, Franklin Roosevelt spoke to Pete's generation, said, hold fast to your dreams. He said, in other words, don't give up on your ideals of peace, freedom, justice, truth, the way so many adults do. When you come down to it, more people die from discouragement than from any disease. And why do people get discouraged? Because they feel that life is a joyless struggle. They feel that they're on a dead-end street. So here are a few of my own recipes. This is Pete's recipes for avoiding the kind of discouragement. They may or may not apply to you. Only you can decide. Number 1. It's better to take a job you want at less pay than a job you don't want for more pay. But you can learn from any job. 2. It's okay to suffer intense temporary discomforts in order to reach a long-range goal, but make sure it's only temporary. Number 3. Debts can be chains, best used when they can haul you to new heights rather than entangle your legs. It's the same with possessions. Man doesn't possess possessions, they possess us. 4. Travel while you're young and still free of responsibilities. See what a big, broad, beautiful land that we have here. Then maybe go to a foreign land or two. See that there are honest, hard-working people in every corner of the globe, all quite certain that their own way of living, their own geography, their own music is most beautiful. 5. This one's important. Keep your health. It's easy while you're young, but our fine, tempting modern civilization can erode it all too quickly. Many a woman or man has finally worked himself in the position where they could do something, and then they found they had no longer the health to do it or to enjoy it. He says now, 5.5. In view of that fact, that good health and energy doesn't last forever, it's worth doing some things earlier than late. Pete's talking about Toshi. When my wife, Toshi, and I were about 30 and very broke, we built our own house, inch by inch, on a mountainside. Glad we did. Doubt we'd have the energy to do it now. I've known too many people who put off such projects until they have the money, or until they have the time, or if they eventually did get the money or the time, they no longer have the energy. 6. A happy sex life may take years to achieve, but it's worth it in the long run. Worth the time, the thought, or rather the thoughtfulness, and often the waiting. 7. A few short ones. Prestige is much overrated. The celebrity business is for the birds. Respectability is nice, but consider, who do you want to respect you? Money is like air and water. You need a certain amount to live on. Beyond that, who wants to be a dog in the manger? He says, and now I'll stop rattling on any longer, like any old graybeard. And so he gave you some things to think about. Now, later on, in this book, you can't see it here, I think. Let's see. Here's a letter that Pete sent to me when I was trying to figure out who I was. He says, Dear Rick, I wish I had an easy answer for your difficult question of how to make a living as a folk singer. I can only say that there is no exact way to do it. There are some thousands of people in this country who would like to do it. Down in Nashville, they have a saying, keep your day job. And you might consider getting a job as a teacher or something else that you enjoy. It might be working in the woods or whatever, something that is good for the health. Don't take a job that's going to kill you, physically as well as spiritually. Then just take weekend jobs within easy driving distance. I was doing this back in the early 50s, and then decided to try and gamble on going and trying to sing at some college folk song clubs. And little by little, I got more jobs. There wasn't so much competition then as there is now. Some people go and sing in the streets in a big city. One of Toshi's schoolmates still does this. In between singing in the streets, though, she goes up to western New York State and picks grapes or other crops and sings for free for her fellow agricultural workers. You could try teaching people. Lori Wyatt does that. Teaches guitar, teaches banjo, teaches anything he can possibly teach. My mother, Pete's talking about his mom, is a very good violin player, but she didn't have the physical stamina to go out and give concert tours and ended up teaching the violin for 60 years. I think one of the bad things about modern technological society is that people feel that they haven't made it unless they are well known outside of their home village. Once upon a time, only a few kings and pirates were known outside of their home village. Everybody else was quite happy if they could do a job, whatever it was, and be known by their neighbors as being a dependable worker. And you could see, signed, Pete Seeger. So that's what I wanted to share with you folks today, was that little bit of advice as when we get down and feel depressed and we don't know, how we're going to get through this or we're going to get through that, that we make sure that we remember that all of us are going through these struggles. And some people, like the folks in Ukraine, are really going through some very, very hard times as this terrible war is raging on. Last night I had the strangest dream. I never dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty Rome filled with women and men, and the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. And when the papers were all signed, 1,000,000 copies were made. They all joined hands and bowed their heads, and grateful prayers were said. And the people in the streets below were dancing round and round, and swords and guns and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Sing it with me. Last night I had the strangest dream. I'd never dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. Thinking about all those folks in Ukraine. Have a good week. I'll see you next time.